Welcome to the Rare History Channel. 15 signs that you'd qualify as a witch in 1692. In 1692, the Salem witch trials created a storm of paranoia and accusations. Discover if you would have been at risk with these 15 signs. Number 1. Gender matters. In 1692, being a woman was almost synonymous with being at risk of a witchcraft accusation, due in large part to the prevailing beliefs that women were more susceptible to the devil's influence. This sentiment wasn't unique to Salem, it had deep roots stretching back to medieval times, forging a strong association between femininity and witchcraft. The skewed execution numbers in Salem, where 14 of the 19 hanged for witchcraft were women, underscore the gendered nature of the witch hunts and the precarious position women found themselves in during the 17th century. Number 2. Financial status. During the Salem witch trials, financial standing didn't offer immunity, as both the poor and affluent women were at risk. The destitute were vulnerable due to their dependency on communal support, whereas financially independent women were suspicious for living without male support, leading to isolation and witchcraft accusations. Historical records indicate that 89% of executed women in New England from 1620 to 1725 were without male heirs or brothers. Number 3. Social circles. The witch trials placed women's social interactions under rigorous scrutiny. Women meeting without men were suspicious, feared as potential witchcraft gatherings. Witchfinders, like Matthew Hopkins, exacerbated these fears with their intense witch hunts, escalating mistrust and paranoia within communities and making women's social circles perilous. Even minor conflicts could escalate to witchcraft accusations, underlining the fragility of social connections. Number 4. Age extremes. Age was a crucial factor in the witch trials, putting elderly women and young girls at risk. Vulnerable elderly women, like 71-year-old Rebecca Nurse, were easy targets, and even young girls, such as 4-year-old Dorothy Good, weren't spared, highlighting the trial's relentless and unforgiving nature. Number 5. Healing skills. In the 17th century, women with healing and herbal knowledge were precarious, as their skills could be misconstrued as witchcraft amidst any unexpected patient condition changes. With limited medical knowledge, these women healers were in constant danger, their invaluable community contributions overshadowed by the risk of witchcraft accusations. Number 6. Family size. In the tightly knit communities of the 17th century, societal norms and expectations regarding family size were strict. Women with smaller families, or no children at all, found themselves under suspicion. Their lack of offspring could be interpreted as a sign that they were using witchcraft to curse their own fertility or the fertility of others. In a time when having a large family was considered a blessing, deviation from this norm placed women at risk of being accused of witchcraft, particularly if there were other compounding factors that made them susceptible to such accusations. Number 7. Conception issues in the community. Fertility and childbearing were central concerns in 17th century communities, and issues in these areas could lead to serious accusations of witchcraft. Women who were already viewed with suspicion for other reasons were particularly at risk of being accused of using witchcraft to steal potential babies or hinder couples' abilities to conceive. These accusations reflect the intense societal pressure on women to bear children and the scrutiny and suspicion that fell on those who deviated from reproductive norms. The community's desire for answers and explanations for fertility issues could easily turn into unfounded accusations against women. Number 8. Behavioral expectations. The 17th century was a time of rigid societal expectations for women's behavior. Traits such as being stubborn, strange, or forward were considered risky and could quickly lead to accusations of witchcraft. Women were expected to be demure, obedient, and subservient, and any deviation from these roles was not tolerated. The community was quick to label women who displayed independence or defied societal norms as witches, reflecting the patriarchal and oppressive nature of the society. The close monitoring of women's behavior meant that any nonconformity was met with suspicion and could potentially lead to deadly consequences. Number 9. Physical markings. During the height of the witch trials in the 16th and 17th centuries, unusual physical features such as moles, birthmarks, or an extra nipple were subject to being labeled as the devil's mark. Superstitions and a societal inclination to connect physical differences with demonic affiliations were prevalent. The presence of such marks was often considered irrefutable evidence of a pact with the devil, leading witch hunters to conduct invasive and dehumanizing examinations on accused individuals in search of these marks. Even common and harmless skin imperfections could be misconstrued as a sign of witchcraft, leading to false accusations and executions, a clear reflection of the paranoia and ignorance of the time. Number 10. Spoiled dairy. In the era of witch trials, the unexplained spoilage of dairy products could lead to accusations of witchcraft. It was commonly believed that a witch had the power to curse food and livestock, and spoiled butter or milk were seen as tangible proof of these malevolent abilities. The blame would inevitably fall upon the supposed witch in the community, often a woman already on the margins of society. This belief illustrates how pervasive the fear of witchcraft was, extending into the most mundane aspects of daily life and leading to accusations based on natural and commonplace occurrences. Number 11. Sexual history. A woman's sexual history was scrutinized, and deviations from the societal norms could lead to accusations of witchcraft. Martha Corey, who had a child out of wedlock before her eventual marriage, is a stark example. Despite her subsequent marriage and her attempt to live a pious life, her past made her a target during the Salem witch trials. This demonstrates the lasting impact of a woman's past on her reputation and societal standing, and how it could be weaponized against her in times of paranoia. Number 12. Future gazing. Engaging in activities that involved predicting the future, even in a playful or jestful manner, was considered risky and could result in accusations of witchcraft. Such acts were seen as a form of divination, a practice associated with witches and forbidden by the stringent religious doctrines of the time. Women, in particular, were vulnerable to such accusations, as their involvement in future gazing, even in an innocent context, could be misconstrued as evidence of witchcraft. This highlights the oppressive nature of the society and the risks associated with deviating from the norm. Number 13. Breaking biblical rules. Any deviation from the strict puritanical laws and biblical rules could lead to accusations of witchcraft. Actions ranging from lying, stealing, to missing church services were all considered severe offenses and could be interpreted as signs of a person's pact with the devil. The puritanical society demanded strict adherence to religious doctrines, and any transgression, no matter how minor, was met with suspicion. This created an environment where individuals were constantly under scrutiny, and their actions were interpreted through the lens of religious fervor and fear of witchcraft. Number 14. Being unpopular or disliked. Personal grudges and community dislike played a significant role in the witch trials. Individuals who were unpopular or disliked within their community were easy targets for accusations of witchcraft. Accusers would weaponize personal vendettas, transforming their dislike into deadly allegations of witchcraft. This aspect of the witch trials highlights how personal relationships and societal standing could influence the course of justice and lead to false and malicious accusations. Number 15. Unconventional living. Living an unconventional life, whether due to mental health issues, nonconformity to societal norms, or late-in-life changes, made individuals like Rachel Clinton vulnerable to accusations of witchcraft. Clinton, who experienced financial instability and personal misfortunes, became an easy scapegoat for her community. Her unconventional living and the societal prejudice against those who deviated from the norm made her a target, illustrating how vulnerability and nonconformity played into the hands of accusers during the witch trials.